Missing someone isn't about absence, it's about the quality of presence you brought when you were there. Today we're exploring how ancient Stoic principles can make you so genuinely valuable, so authentically magnetic, that your absence creates a vacuum others can't help but notice. This isn't about manipulation or games. This is about becoming the kind of man whose energy, character, and presence are so rare and valuable that when you're gone, people feel the difference. The Stoics understood that true influence comes not from what you try to make people feel, but from who you genuinely are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." The man who becomes truly missed is the one who focuses on his own character, his own growth, and his own mission, rather than constantly seeking validation or attention from others. The first principle is to become genuinely scarce through value, not through artificial unavailability. Most men think scarcity means playing hard to get or deliberately ignoring women. This is amateur psychology that usually backfires because it's transparent manipulation. Real scarcity comes from having a life so rich, so purposeful, and so engaging that you naturally don't have unlimited time for everyone. When you're building something meaningful, pursuing excellence and developing yourself, your attention becomes valuable because it's genuinely limited. The Stoics believed in focusing your energy on what you can control. When you channel your energy into your mission, your health, your skills, and your character, you become inherently more attractive because you're not needy for external validation. Women miss men who have their own lives, their own goals, and their own sources of fulfillment. The man who's constantly available, constantly texting, constantly seeking attention signals that he has nothing more important going on. But the man who's building something, who has priorities beyond romantic attention, creates natural scarcity that makes his presence more valuable. This means developing genuine interests, pursuing meaningful work, maintaining male friendships, staying physically active, and having goals that excite you. When your life is full of purpose and passion, your availability becomes precious rather than common. The second principle is emotional self-mastery. The Stoics taught that you cannot control others' feelings, but you can completely control your own emotional state. When you master this, you become incredibly attractive, because emotional stability is rare in our reactive world. Most men lose their center when dealing with women. They become emotional when she's emotional, reactive when she's difficult, needy when she's distant. This emotional mirroring makes them forgettable because they add no value to her emotional experience. But the man who remains calm during her storms, confident during her doubts, and steady during her chaos becomes unforgettable. He's not cold or distant, he's emotionally regulated. He feels deeply but isn't controlled by those feelings. Seneca wrote about the importance of remaining undisturbed by external events. When you apply this to relationships, you become the man who doesn't get rattled by her moods, doesn't take her bad days personally, and doesn't lose his composure when she's testing his character. This emotional mastery makes you missed because you represent stability in an unstable world. When you're gone, she remembers how calm and centered she felt in your presence. She misses the peace you brought to her often chaotic emotional world. Practice this by observing your emotions without being controlled by them. When she cancels plans, notice your disappointment, but don't let it make you bitter. When she's moody, recognize her state without taking responsibility for fixing it. When she's distant, maintain your own center without becoming needy or reactive. The third principle is outcome independence. The Stoics believed in doing your best while accepting whatever results come from your efforts. In relationships, this means being genuinely interested in someone while being completely unattached to any specific outcome. The man who's desperate for a relationship, who needs her to like him, who can't handle rejection, is instantly forgettable because his neediness is repulsive. But the man who's genuinely interested, yet completely unattached to outcomes, becomes magnetic because he's operating from abundance rather than scarcity. Outcome independence doesn't mean not caring. It means caring about doing your best while being unattached to her response. You bring your full presence and authentic interest to interactions without needing any particular reaction from her. This makes you missed because most men she encounters are either trying too hard to impress her or completely disinterested. You represent the rare middle ground, genuinely engaged but not needy, interested but not desperate, caring but not controlling. Marcus Aurelius practiced outcome independence by focusing on his own actions and character while accepting that he couldn't control others' responses. When you apply this to attraction, you become the man who gives his best effort without expecting anything in return. The fourth principle is intellectual and emotional stimulation. The Stoics were deep thinkers who valued wisdom, growth, and meaningful conversation. When you develop these qualities, you become missed because most people bring surface-level energy to interactions. Most men try to impress women through bragging, showing off possessions, or talking about superficial achievements. But the man who can engage her mind, challenge her thinking, and create meaningful emotional experiences becomes unforgettable. This means developing your own thoughts, reading widely, having interesting perspectives, and being able to discuss topics beyond sports, weather, and gossip. When you can make her think, laugh, and feel simultaneously, you create memorable experiences that she craves when you're absent. Epictetus taught his students to focus on developing their character and wisdom rather than seeking external validation. When you become genuinely interesting through personal development, you naturally become someone others want to be around. Create emotional contrast in your interactions. Be serious when discussing meaningful topics, playful when the moment calls for lightness, challenging when she needs to grow, and supportive when she needs encouragement. This emotional range makes you missed because most people are emotionally flat and predictable. The fifth principle is mysterious depth. The Stoics believed in maintaining inner privacy while being outwardly engaging. They didn't share every thought or feeling immediately, but revealed themselves gradually through their actions and character. When you have depth that she's still discovering, when there are layers to your personality that unfold over time, when you remain somewhat mysterious despite being open and honest, you create intrigue that makes her miss you when you're absent. This doesn't mean being secretive or deceptive. It means having a rich inner life that you don't immediately dump on everyone you meet. It means being interesting enough that she continues discovering new aspects of your character over time. Most men either share too much too quickly, becoming predictable and boring, or share too little, becoming cold and distant. The attractive middle ground is being open about your values and character, while maintaining some mystery about your full depth and complexity. The sixth principle is authentic confidence that comes from self-knowledge and character development. The Stoics taught that true confidence comes from knowing yourself, accepting your flaws, and continuously working to improve your character. Fake confidence is loud, insecure, and tries to prove itself constantly. Real confidence is quiet, secure, and doesn't need external validation. When you develop authentic confidence through self-mastery and character development, you become missed because genuine confidence is rare and attractive. This confidence shows up in how you handle rejection, how you respond to tests, how you carry yourself in social situations, and how you treat others regardless of what you might gain from them. The woman who experiences authentic confidence in a man often finds other men lacking by comparison. Your confident presence becomes the standard against which she measures other interactions. The seventh and most powerful principle is living according to your own values, regardless of external pressure. The Stoics believed in maintaining your principles, even when it costs you socially, financially, or romantically. When you're willing to walk away from situations that don't align with your values, when you maintain your standards even when it's inconvenient, when you choose integrity over immediate gratification, you become incredibly attractive because moral courage is rare. The man who stands for something, who has non-negotiable principles, who won't compromise his character for anyone, becomes missed because he represents the kind of strength and reliability that most people lack. This doesn't mean being rigid or judgmental. It means having clear values and living according to them consistently. When she sees that you won't compromise your integrity even for her, she respects you in ways that create lasting attraction. The ultimate goal isn't to make anyone miss you. The goal is to become the kind of man worth missing. When you focus on developing your character, pursuing your purpose, and living according to virtue, you naturally become someone whose absence is felt deeply. Remember that trying to make someone miss you often backfires because it comes from neediness and manipulation. But becoming genuinely missable through character development and purposeful living creates authentic attraction that does not require games or strategies. The Stoics taught that the best way to influence others is to become worthy of influence. When you develop genuine value through character, purpose, and self-mastery, your presence becomes significant and your absence becomes noticeable. This approach works regardless of her initial interest level because you're not trying to change her feelings through manipulation. You're becoming genuinely valuable, and valuable things are naturally missed when they're absent. If you're ready to become genuinely missable through character development rather than manipulation, to create authentic scarcity through value rather than games, comment below, "I choose genuine value." Remember, the most attractive men aren't those who know how to make women miss them. They're those who become worth missing through their character, purpose, and authentic presence.